talk, I also asked my team members like what they would ask me in Q&A so I could get ready for this. There were some really absurd ones. I was also scared that there would be no questions. That was the other one. Questions I couldn't answer or no questions at all. They were the two fears. I feel like Matt's going to help me out here. Oh, didn't you see the photos of that place? 100% no. Like, there was no business plan. I looked back over our business plan. It was compiled in 2012. That was written on the title page, which I'm glad because it was nice to know how long it's been since I actually put energy to writing that about our goals and aspirations, but it was very, very badly done. It was excellent though, because it was like, these are all the things that we can do, and this is how I'd link with the community and all the people, like potential partners, existing partners, all of that stuff that if you've ever gone out on your own and done your own thing, that's like this where you start, I've heard. But most certainly, yeah, does that answer your question, hopefully? Sure. Yeah, I don't know how to expand on that. Oh, totally. We've got like an amazing group of people that choose to live and work from Toowoomba, practicing artists as well, like a broad mix. We've got a beautiful university and some really excellent lecturers out there making great work. So yeah, I really did feel like it was a thing. It was very ceremonious, and we do that monthly with the exhibition program and then yearly with the festival in Toowoomba. But I think it was an action of building. It wasn't us coming out of nowhere alone. It was a movement. At the time, the hybrid arts that I spoke on when we started the aerosol was getting traction. Like I said, there was a dance studio, a gallery, drama classes, an artist in residency room, all of these things under one building. It was such a cool thing and so new for Toowoomba. So that was happening. We had another contemporary art space open up called Raygun Lab. They do brilliant things where they bring out an international artist seasonally and paint a wall in the city and host an exhibition. So more conceptually based gallery, but to have that locally is exciting. Yeah, cool. So there's like the traditional crowd, and there was all these pubs, and the pub scene was going off, but it was just like not something that I was interested in doing. Like, you can only go to the same dank pub so many times before you like either want to move or do something about it. And I think for me, going back to being a young person or a young creative person, the option was do something about it because nobody else was putting their hand up. At the time, that was like really empowering. It's still pretty empowering. But yeah, that was definitely a Kickstarter. I think we had another question over here before I give Maddie some more airtime. Yeah, Alex. Oh, cool. To get real about how that actually worked for the first bit of starting our own business. I had the opportunity to be on the NIST scheme. That was like a government incentive that paid the equivalent of a New Start allowance to help you start your own business. All three of us were on that allowance for 12 months. And that was like our get it going year. After that year, we could pay our own bills, and we had like months where we were like, yeah, I think we can pay ourselves this month. Or I think we can pay ourselves most of what we put aside in the goal spectrum of paying ourselves. It wasn't until at the end of year 2, coming into year 3, that we'd been, I think at the beginning of year 3, we'd started paying ourselves properly for a 6-month period. And there hadn't been that feeling of, hey, let's have that chat about where the bank account's at and where our wages are this month. And checking in with the team, being like, cool, how do you feel about not paying yourself so much? So I think year 3, it was like, okay, this feels good, the bills are getting paid, we're paying ourselves, we could probably pay ourselves a little bit more if we wanted to. Like, we're not on an extravagant wage, but it was comfortable. Like, the cost of living is much lower in Toowoomba, as are the overheads, and we had a team of people renting the space from us. We have artisans, we have bands, and we host workshops and events regularly, so that was all helping with the overhead part of it. But the wage part of it didn't come till later, and there was like a 2-year probably headspace of not knowing if it was going to work. And there was always that, all right, we have a 3-year lease. If 3 years ticks around and we can't feed ourselves and have a guaranteed rent for my personal bills and my own stuff and like my dog that I feed, then that's going to have to be it. So we did put a bracket on it. And I think through things that we've done with like even the festival's been our biggest advocate for our business. So as much as the festival might not be in a position where it pays me a proper wage still, it's been that flow-on effect of having, we now have like 80 billboards for our business in the city accidentally. And that's spreading to Brisbane. I had the pleasure of curating for the first time for Brisbane City Council. The first time they've had a curator on board, they invited me from Toowoomba to come and put 5 pieces of public art in your city. What? They said, what, in your professional opinion, what would you do here? I'd run my own business. I was straight out of uni and I'd had 2 years of a festival under my banner, and they were asking my professional opinion. You have no idea. That was a moment, but yeah, it took a bit of while to get in the headspace. We were like comfortable with the idea that we were making money off it, making enough to live and be comfortable with that. Yeah, I hope that answers for you. Cool. Please, Emily. Oh, cool. So for so long, and I think it's actually been like this weird headspace for myself. It's like, what is that? Thank you. That's never happened to me before. Now how it feels for artists who have like 50K and all these young artists like drawing them. That's how it feels like. Thank you. Anyway, question, my goals? Like for me, it's been such a small team for 3 years and I'm starting to know what it's like to have a bigger team. In the studio, like it's me and Ian, who has the beautiful brush on the type. And we're leading other creatives in a studio. It's 2 people. When we operate the festival, it's myself, it's Ian again, and it's Matt doing our website and strategy. Then we pull in other helpers to do brand and do elements, and then we have a team of volunteers, and that is it. So for me, the goal is to be able to delegate, have a bigger team, share it. Because I think it's all been like a headspace of, I don't need anyone, or I can do this by myself. Like the ambitious young person, it's like, I can do everything myself, right? But you can't, and that's like the worst pressure to put on yourself. And when you actually get to work in a team, and I've had the pleasure of experiencing it properly with even just starting this gallery space in the Valley. Matt does our websites, we have a beautiful team that prints the didactic, someone does all of our socials. I help curate, I'm just the curator with that. I install the shows and I come for beers on opening night, and there's a team of people that does everything else. And that's the most amazing feeling. So I think I'm really chasing that now to how do I go from how we've been operating, it's been fun and semi-sustainable, to the possibilities when you've got a team. Yeah. Cool. I think it's actually, it's a tricky one. It took me ages to feel comfortable with the idea of money. Even as we were starting out, artists would come in and I'd be curating a group show, and the entry fee would be $25. You know, that covers the rent of the space and the skateboard that we were doing it on, like one of those sort of exhibitions. And like my friends would come in and like to buy the skateboard and be in the show and want to support us. I'd be like, oh, don't worry about paying. And that was really a real struggle for me for ages to accept money. Like even when I knew that it was like costing us money, there was like a time where it was like an awkward conversation for me. I'm very comfortable with the idea of money now. And even to touch back on I'm actually really comfortable with the idea of representing artists now. I'm feeling okay with speaking on behalf of artists and their needs, coming from, as you saw, my beautiful sculpture in third year uni. I'm coming from a place of being an artist myself and knowing that before stepping in as a curator. So I think that's been a strength. But money itself is such a weird thing. It's inevitable for survival, but it's also, yeah, I don't know. Can you remind me of the question?
How do you feel about the relationship between
art and money? Yeah. It's a real service. It's a real-time thing. It's strange that we have to comment that in a room full of creative people because, yeah, I won't go into it too much because we all know where I'm going with this. If you need to get your like plumbing or electrical stuff fixed, it's a real-time trade, a real-time service, and it's the same thing. Oh, dude, we are running out of walls. I found some new gems recently, some big ones. I'm really pumped on that. There's some silos in town that, oh my God, I don't know why they won't let us paint it. They're an eyesore. It's so obvious too. We are moving away from Toowoomba, and Toowoomba does have a deadline for us. We can't paint with the scale of the city itself. It has an end date. My goal at the moment is putting a time frame on that and inviting my own council to take more ownership of it. At the moment, we don't have arts projects running out of our own council. I've seen this week that Brisbane City has offered another Brisbane Canvas expression of interest for local artists to paint walls in your city. We don't have that. Our council does not acknowledge that it's important. They are happy to high-five me and thank me for my contribution, but sometimes not happy to take it on as their own responsibility. And for me this year the goal is to make them own it, so that when I step away they can still use it, and it's not one of those things that dies when you take when the people that champion these things, when they pull themselves away from it, it doesn't die. Because I think it's doing a beautiful thing for this city. It's just a matter of getting more traction and more ownership from some key players. Also, we're taking it on the road and doing fun stuff, which is cool. Thanks, Calandra, for having us. Yeah, question?
How do you deal with that, you know?
Oh, dude, this last 8 months has been tough. And then also like this society pressure at the same time, and through this talk has actually been really healing for me, not to get deep. But like even when you like writing grants and people will write you a letter of support, to be like going for like jumping forward for something and to have your peers go, this is why you should be jumping. That's like the best thing. Sorry, question, I get sidetracked in my own rant. How the critic? I don't really, like it's just a personal thing, like it's, it's the like the deep core of me knowing that nothing will ever be good enough, if that's not too dark for you. Yeah, cool. I deal with it in like talking about it, really. It's literally like people are sick of talking to me about like, what am I doing with my life? I feel like I'm not doing it. That's been the coping. Yeah. You guys over here want to answer one question? Yes, please. Oh, all the time. Yeah, totally. Don't think like I'm not a superwoman thanks to Burn It on Black Books. That was the core message out of that. I think for me, coming back to like how I deal with it, I haven't dealt with it. I've been like putting off getting started because I'm so scared of fucking up. Sorry, what was your question again? I'm really... yeah, I don't know whether it's procrastination or it's just like if I start and I commit to it and what if it's wrong? So like there's been like this feeling of like not starting and like the more you don't start, the worse it gets. Like you just got to start. But yeah, I do procrastinate. It's bad. Like I edited my slides again last night. Sorry, Jacinta. Yes. So I'm not an artist anymore. That was when I first started writing this transparency talk. I was like listing all the things that like I've realised like, oh, I did a degree, but I was trying to be an artist, but I'm not an artist, I'm a curator, or I had a thing for Nickelback when I was in primary school, and that's okay. Am I giving myself time? I'd like to think so. Like I dedicate a month a year to travelling and not being here, which is good. That's great for headspace. Also being in a regional city, what I find is the more I go away, the more I love coming back. That might be anywhere. I think that's pretty universal, just the idea of loving it again if you don't look at it for a while. Yeah. Maybe, I hope so. Yeah. It's the emotion, right? Yeah. I mean, like when I said in this talk about surrounding myself with heroes, these are my friends and these are also the people that I work with. So it's just being like, I don't know, I've had I don't know.
Have you had moments where friends that you got into your business haven't been right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Like gently.
I wasn't going to touch on that, but I can touch on that. It's a two-part answer. Okay. One of them is I started this creative business in a relationship and then a business partnership, and then dissolved a relationship but continued a business with one of the guys, which was nice. Also a real struggle to like go through that process of not being able to separate yourself from that person physically because of a business, but also then growing through that and having a best friend that has that history that you don't think about anymore. And that's a beautiful transition. That wasn't an easy thing. I've also had the experience of losing a business partner. We started as a three-piece, and we had the experience of feeling like 1/3 of it wasn't pulling their weight. And there was a backstory with that person and their own journey. But that was a hard one too, because you start this as a three-person thing, and you've got a model that operates with 3 people, and then you go, all right, well now it's going to operate as 2, and how does that look? And even to come back to Alex's question about like finances, we knew by looking at the books that we could make that work as 2, but it was a headspace thing of going, but the 3 and the power of 3 people and 3 hands is better than 2 and 3 sets of hands. Maths. But yeah, like how you come out of that, that'll make you a better person, and that'll also teach you how to be respectful and how each person handles things differently. And the best thing that business partner at the time taught me was that people respond differently. I'm a person that like is an immediate person. Like you tell me something, I have an answer for it. It might not be the right answer, but I'm going to vocalize what I think in my head right now. There are people that like to breathe, go home, have a cup of tea, come back and go, hey, so this is what I think about what you just said. And it took me ages because I was like, I just didn't know. I didn't have the experience of dealing with other people. I'd sat in my studio at uni and done my things, and then to have a real life where everyone operates on a different level. So to know that everyone's different and be comfortable with everyone's different makes it easier to approach those different things. Maddie, yeah, lay it on me.
To end on a high note, what have we got to look forward to next year?
I think the biggest part that I look forward to make it about me for a sec, is the artists that, but I'm going to expand. I'm going to start with me and then go, and then I hope that you, is the artists that we get to work with. Far out, that's the highlight. And to come back to that idea that this is an addiction, that we get to have all of these people in my studio, I get to meet these people, that's the best part for me. So I hope that that's the best part for everybody else, that we get to work, like you get to see these people at work. Process is such a beautiful thing. I think when I look at stuff online when you can't be there, I want to see the brush. I want to see how that artist works, and you get to do that in real life, and that's my favourite part. So I hope that that's something that everyone looks forward to. Oh. Is this where I talk about the app that you're working with me on? There's a portion of people over here that already heard the story this morning. We're in the process of trying to, like I said, going back to putting a cap on Toowoomba and moving forward at some point from running out of walls. The other part of that is leaving a legacy, and if I'm going to convince my own council to take this on, like, what does it do for Toowoomba? We've had that economic assessment of what's the dollar value, and we've had our university go on a research level, this is what it means for well-being. I want to know what it means for long-term. Like, is this a real thing that we can take and then keep doing? Whether we do that in Toowoomba or we do that somewhere else. So I think what I'm most excited about as well, that I hope that you're most excited about, is creating more of an experience around the mural work themselves. So you get to have those sites as more interactive, have music and have barbecues and just do awesome stuff all throughout the city.
Like an outdoor gallery.
It's like an outdoor gallery. It's like choose your own adventure. This is me not knowing how to market myself. I'm really bad at that. I think you guys have got jobs. Any other questions before we wrap up? It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.